The moment the pressure wave hit, I knew something was terribly wrong. Alarms blared through the cramped corridors of Abyssus Station, our underwater lab perched above the hydrothermal vents. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the steel walls as the ground trembled beneath my feet. "Report to the control room now!" Dr. Lena's voice crackled over the intercom, tinged with panic. I sprinted through the narrow passageways, my heart pounding. The vents outside roiled with dark, mineral-rich plumes, their silent power now a menacing presence. As I reached the control room, the door was ajar, and inside chaos reigned. Monitors displayed frantic readings and blurry images of the vent fields, but something else moved in the darkness, shapes that shouldn't exist. "Lena," I called, stepping inside. She was hunched over a console, her face pale. "What's happening?" Before she could answer, the lights went out completely. A suffocating darkness enveloped us, broken only by the faint glow of bioluminescent creatures outside the reinforced windows. Then, a hiss echoed through the station, followed by the sound of metal scraping metal. "We have breaches!" Lena shouted, her voice trembling. "Something's getting in." I grabbed a flashlight and aimed it toward the wall where the breach was happening. Emerging from the darkness were creatures, unlike anything I'd ever seen. Elongated bodies with translucent skin, revealing pulsating organs and razor-sharp appendages. Their eyes glowed with an unnatural intelligence, and they moved with predatory grace. "Stay back," Lena ordered, but it was too late. One of the creatures lunged, its appendage slicing through the air. I dodged, feeling the rush of water as it tore through the station's defenses. Panic set in as more creatures poured in, their numbers overwhelming. "We need to seal the breaches," Lena insisted, her scientific composure cracking. Together, we raced to the containment valves, battling the relentless onslaught. Every second felt like an eternity as we fought to protect our fragile sanctuary. Finally, the last valve clicked shut, cutting off the invaders. Silence descended, broken only by our ragged breaths and the distant rumble of the vents. The creatures outside retreated, their glowing eyes watching us from the darkness. "We're not alone down here," Lena whispered, her eyes haunted. "And whatever they are, they're adapting." As we surveyed the damage, the realization hit me. We had awakened something ancient and aggressive, mutated by the extreme conditions of the vents. Our pursuit of knowledge had unleashed horrors beyond our control. Floating in the dim light, I felt the weight of our isolation pressing in. The abyss was no longer just a place of discovery. It was a realm of nightmares. We were trapped in the deep, with horrors that thrived in the darkness, waiting for their next move. In the heart of the ocean's depths, surrounded by the relentless pressure and the eerie glow of the vents, I understood one truth. Some secrets of the deep should remain buried. The storm hit without warning, dark clouds swallowing the horizon as waves pounded Seabrook Harbor with relentless fury. I stood on the dock, watching my father's fishing boat, the Mariner, bobbing perilously. Our town thrived on these deep-sea catches, but lately the sea had been restless. Ships vanished, and the tides seemed to conspire against us. "Dad, something's wrong!" I shouted over the roar of the wind, grabbing his sleeve. He looked up, eyes haunted. Before I could react, a monstrous wave surged, taller than any I'd ever seen, crashing over the dock and swallowing the Mariner whole. Screams echoed as the boat was torn apart, dragged into the abyss. Desperation gripped me as I dove into the churning waters, fighting against the current to reach the wreckage. Underneath the surface, the ocean was a twisted nightmare. Debris floated like ghostly apparitions, and an unnatural darkness loomed. Suddenly, eyes glowed from the depths, hundreds of them, watching, waiting. Tentacles lashed out, wrapping around my limbs, pulling me deeper into the blackness. I struggled, kicking against the unseen force, but the grip only tightened. Panic surged as I realized these creatures were retaliating against our relentless fishing and pollution. The sea itself seemed alive, vengeful, manipulating the tides to isolate Seabrook and punish us. Breaking free, I gasped for air, only to see the town's shoreline eerily quiet. Boats were missing, and the sea had encroached upon the streets, turning them into watery graves. Lights flickered in submerged homes, and the once bustling market was now a haunting underwater tableau. Determined to save my town, I sought out Dr. Elena Ramirez, our marine biologist, hoping she could explain the horrors. She revealed ancient legends of Nyara, a guardian of the deep, awakened by our greed and disregard. "We disturbed the balance," she whispered, eyes wide with fear. "Now, Nyara is punishing us." As night fell, the tides rose again, isolating Seabrook entirely. The town was trapped in a watery tomb, with monstrous creatures patrolling the depths and attacking any vessel that dared approach. Every splash and shadow became a threat, every night a battle for survival. One evening, as I stood at the water's edge, Nyara emerged, a colossal serpentine form with eyes that mirrored the abyss. It loomed above, tendrils waving like dark silk, eyes fixed on me. "You took too much," it seemed to say, its presence suffocating. Desperation led me to a risky plan, to appease Nyara by ceasing all fishing and purging the pollution we had wrought. Rallying the remaining townsfolk, we dismantled our boats and began cleaning the shores, hoping to restore the balance. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the sea calmed. The monstrous waves subsided, and the tide's wrath eased. Nyara watched from the depths, its presence less menacing as we honored our promise. Seabrook began to heal, and the bond between us and the ocean was restored. Yet, late at night, when the moon casts silver paths on the water, I sometimes hear the distant call of Nyara, a reminder of the fine line between prosperity and destruction. The tides may calm, but the nightmares of the deep remain, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for us to forget our vows once more. In Seabrook, we learned that the sea is not just a provider, but a powerful force deserving of respect. And as long as we heed its warnings, perhaps the tidal nightmares will remain just stories whispered by the waves. The first note of the anomaly played through my headset like a haunting melody. As the lead acoustic researcher on Deep Echo, I had grown accustomed to the Mariana Trench's symphony, but this rhythm was different, repetitive, almost deliberate. My pulse quickened. Reports of disappearances among nearby submersible teams had circulated, but no one knew the cause. "Everyone, listen!" I called to my team through the comms, my voice steady despite the unease gnawing at me. "We've got something unusual. Let's analyze the pattern." Dr. Maya Chen, our sonar expert, adjusted her monitors. "It's consistent. The frequencies don't match any known marine life or geological activity." Before we could delve deeper, the station's lights flickered, and an unsettling silence fell. The monitors went black for a split second before flickering back to life, displaying distorted images of the trench's abyssal plains. A low, resonant hum filled the room, vibrating through the metal walls. "Did you hear that?" whispered Tom, our engineer, his usually confident demeanor shaken. I nodded, eyes fixed on the screens. The sounds seemed to be coming from deeper within the trench, syncing perfectly with the mysterious disappearances. Determined to uncover the truth, I proposed an expedition. "We need to send a sub down. If there's a connection, we have to find it." After securing approval, our submersible, abyssal venture descended into the inky depths. The pressure mounted, and the darkness was absolute, save for the bioluminescent flashes from distant creatures. As we reached the source of the echoes, the water around us began to shimmer with an unnatural light. Suddenly, the sub's sonar picked up a massive silhouette moving against the currents. My heart raced. "We're not alone," I whispered, gripping the controls. The shape resolved into an ancient Leviathan, its colossal form adorned with bioluminescent patterns that mirrored the acoustic signals we had detected. Its eyes, deep and intelligent, seemed to study us, responding to our presence with synchronized pulses of light. "Is it communicating?" Maya asked, awe and fear intertwining in her voice. Before I could answer, the Leviathan emitted a powerful roar, sending shockwaves through the water. The sub trembled as the creature began to manipulate the surrounding tides, creating vortices that threatened to engulf us. Equipment malfunctioned, and panic set in. "Retreat! We need to go back!" Tom shouted over the chaos. But the Leviathan advanced, its movements graceful, yet menacing. It was clear we had trespassed into its domain, and it was reacting to our intrusion with escalating aggression. I fought to stabilize the sub, knowing our survival depended on understanding its behavior. Desperate, I adjusted the acoustic emitters to mirror the Leviathan's signals, hoping to communicate peace. The creature paused, its eyes softening as the echoes harmonized with its own. Slowly, the tidal forces abated, and the Leviathan backed away, dissolving into the darkness. Breathing a collective sigh of relief, we began our ascent. Back at Deep Echo, the experience left us shaken but enlightened. The Leviathan wasn't just a beast, it was a guardian, responding to the echoes of human intrusion with protectiveness born of ancient wisdom. In the days that followed, we adjusted our research protocols, ensuring respect for the trench's mysteries. The disappearances ceased, and the eerie echoes became a reminder of the deep's enigmatic guardians. As I gazed out at the endless ocean from the station's window, I realized that some secrets lie too deep to comprehend fully. The Mariana Trench whispered its ancient truths, and we were merely echoes in its vast, unfathomable song.